Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show.
An Iceman buff is on the way. Rogue's kit can't be expanded to absorb other buffs. Boo. Battlegrounds matchmaking will improve, says Kabam. And don't expect an energy cap increase anytime soon. But refills, buy them, says Kabam as well. Yes, hello everybody. Welcome back to the MCN show for Monday. What the hell are you doing up there? Get down now. Yep, coming down. Hello everybody. But yeah, hit the like button, subscribe and post notifications on all. So we kick off with incredibly good news. First of all, about Spider-Man Supreme. Mystic version of Spider-Man was designed with some specific matchups in mind, such as Rich get richer, not me get Mia. Path in Alliance War. We're happy to see players using Mystic Spidey in Alliance War and Battlegrounds versus some strong cosmic defenders such as Saucy, Nova, Vision, Arcus. So far we're pleased with how he's performing and he's going to be left as he is. Spot. On the attacking side, we're seeing players become more comfortable with Spot's portal block and untouchable mechanics, and are happy to see him doing very well in Battlegrounds. We're expecting to see more Spots show up in decks as more players acquire him. Yeah, that's something I'm working towards next month. On the defensive side, we were hoping to see Spot make an impact in Alliance War alongside newer unsteady ground tactics, and we're happy with what we're seeing so far. So yeah, look out for next month. I think it's going to be a bit stinky, but I'm sure people will find counters. But also, exciting news is we're currently working on a lighter update to Iceman. We're looking to bring his base damage up and make some tweaks to his utility. Yes, he will be immune to Cold Snap. Thank the Lord, because that needs to happen. It just made it like perfect sense for it to be like a thing, because why wouldn't he be immune to those things? I mean, look, we've got Sabretooth that's immune to it, for God's sake. So I'm pretty certain of that, actually. But yeah, you kind of think, well, he's cold. He's a cold dude. He surely will be able to interact with that. It just feels weird. I would like a bit more from the champion, and maybe that base damage will improve that, but it just depends on, like, you know, what the improvements are. I want to do a pre-buff and post-buff type video, so to do some comparisons, because I like that champion, and I would like to do more with it. It's just a shame that, you know, he's not at the current meta for damage rotation in a quick succession and isn't very much synergy dependent. So well, it's good news. An Iceman buff is on the way. Let's now talk about Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds is a very weird thing. It's still something that I feel that isn't there when it comes to a finished article. Since Season 1, it was very much apparent that there's a lot of fundamentals not really looked into. And Kabam have made little kind of like dents into dealing with stuff. There's still that bug, which, you know, we talked about last week, where you literally will just close out the app, or it will just kind of like crash, and then you're left with nothing else to do but refreshing or waiting till the timer goes down. Or I think yeah, I think it closes on, when we looked at the bug, like 0000, and you have to like exit out, come back in again. Instant loss. It's the instant loss BG bug. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's a problem. But also there are other problems within the mode. Whether or not players are seeing some interaction issues, whether or not players are seeing matchmaking issues, there are other players that are going up against some really stacked, ridiculous rosters, and you think, what the bloody hell's going on here? I mean, a good case in point would be Seaton Man of Legends. So if you've seen Seaton's post on Twitter, where he said that he, as his account, which I think he's the 135k account versus 920k account, so I think it's his new free-to-play versus his versus a different one. It's like, what the heck's going on if that's the difference between like placements, especially because something doesn't work out here. Like you kind of look, right, it's so he faced off against a silver 2 person, but before was against a bronze 1 person. I mean, that's weird in any case, but there is some weird stuff with it. I think Kabam will just take who's active at the moment and thrust them as long as they're kind of close together. But yeah, in any case, like, it's so weird to kind of note that this noted in a loss in a silver 2 as a 920k account versus, you know, a free-to-play 135k account. I'm not saying Kabam can like do some kind of like, oh, they can do a non-spending versus spending matchup. That's just never gonna happen. But there's better things that Kabam can do when it comes to matchmaking to make it fair. But here's the thing, we don't know how to kind of negotiate around that particular matchmaking. But also it's kind of weird when you see stuff like this. My 1.2 million alt account reached diamond without a sweat, but my 3.3 million main account is struggling to get out of plat 3. I mean, it just goes to show you, is it this meta? Is it matchmaking that's causing an issue? Because look, a lot of players do raise this. But in any case, interesting when we get a response from Kabam on the matter of the subject of matchmaking. As Kabam Jack says, Battlegrounds Matchmaking is constantly being monitored and evaluated. Changes are being proposed for future seasons, which is great. I do think there needs to be something that is, and look, here's the thing, if you're able to be very skilled and kind of get through it and blast through it very easily, but do bear in mind, you have to have the right champions ranked, you have to play into the meta, and the problem with that is you may have like rank 1, rank 2 versions of the current meta. Not saying that's for everybody, but it's more something that benefits those with an expansive roster. If you're very early to certain progressions like Thronebreaker, Paragon, even Cavalier or whatever, you may not have a broad expansive roster. And you might be thinking to yourself, I'm going to have to draw on 4 stars in order to get the champion coverage required. Then it does put a lot of variables into how Kabam should look at Battlegrounds in the future. Definitely something that was seen this season, and I'm sure it'll be seen in future seasons if Kabam don't look into this a little bit more. Every season seems to be a beta season until we seem like this is a full release. But we move on to the next season and hope Kabam get it right. Now onto the subject of Rogue. As a lot of you know, Rogue's a fun champion, especially when you're absorbing buffs. There's been some really fun times when I've played like the champion, you've been able to absorb like loads of health and loads of buffs. Sadly, there was a year past, say, 2017, I think it is, or maybe 2018. I think it's probably 2017. That new buffs or new type buffs were added into Marvel Contest of Champions that you weren't able to absorb, which was incredibly sad, especially considering the breadth and expanse that Rogue should have as a champion to absorb them. The same way Loki should be able to replicate certain buffs, same with Morningstar and other champions that do that kind of copy buff or kind of like absorb buff type elements to their kit. Now it came to the forums that somebody was like, hey, hang on a minute, like why am I not absorbing buffs like Energize and other such buffs as well? And look, I'm sure people will go, oh well, you shouldn't copy all buffs, and that's the thing, it just would be nice to see a lot more coverage of that particular kit. But there's an answer from this from Kabam, which I think is kind of like, it's good to put this to bed, but I don't think sadly it's going to give a pleasant dream, a more of a annoying nightmare. Well, not annoying nightmare, just a bit of a nightmare really. Because Rogue was introduced to the game so long ago, any new buffs have to be manually added to her list to replicate. However, this can make it tricky to add them to a kit. Those buffs are designed to work specifically with the champion they come from, and it can be difficult to add them to Rogue without creating knock-on effects that can have a negative impact on her abilities in fight. In order to avoid further confusion around this ability, the team will be updating the description to specify a full list of buffs she can replicate. That's sad because it means it's going to be incredibly specific for the champion. And I would say, like, well, wouldn't it be best to just, I don't know, create a new Rogue and then give everybody the access to the Rogue? Like if you've got the 5-star, 6-star version, and just give everybody the champion back once you've rebuilt the champions. That may be something. Like we're buffing old champions at the moment in Marvel Contest of Champions. Imagine if you're able to kind of like, if Kabam were able to go, do you know what? If we strip out the champion and then start again from scratch, we're then able to recreate something that is not 2016 or 2015 meta and then change it to be like a 2023 meta. Probably not. Kabam will go, that'd probably be too much hassle, so it's easier just to go, yeah, she's limited. You're only really going to use her once or twice in the future. Are we going to buff her? Maybe not. Probably not. Maybe. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing to get that particular response. But yeah, it's just what I'd expect from Kabam, to be honest, on that one. And now let's talk about energy consumption. Now I did do a video about this a little while ago. I did get a few people that came at me with some, well, I'd say some kind of like thoughts and opinions of their own. Some nice, some constructive, some incredibly rude. But definitely the conversation about energy is a very serious one for a lot of players, especially like myself, when you want to make sure that you are trying to have as much energy as possible to do all the quests, do Battlegrounds competitively enough, but also being able to do other things as well, like side quests, and as well when there's a new act that's on at the same time. It can be a little bit frustrating to have to spend all your units on energy, and yeah, the free energy each month is something that is limited. There's not a huge amount. There's not a huge amount to cover everything. You have to be very specific, which does create a problem. But in any case, it's definitely something that a lot of players are kind of having their say on. And do bear in mind, opening up the arena crystals is not guaranteed 100% energy refills. Also, it's not 100% guaranteed that you'll get energy refills from Paragon or lower crystals, those 4-hour crystals. It's also not guaranteed that you're going to get, every time you go into Act 3.2.6, Act 5. Whatever it is, 5.3.6, a guaranteed energy refill. It's just not guaranteed. Some people get it more frequently, and that's great. RNG is with you, but for others, it's not. It's definitely not been there for me for a long time, repeating some of that old content. But in any case, to the point. Energy consumption, energy usage. So this was a response from Kabam Jax on the subject. Up until fairly recently, you could participate in everything the contest had to offer, with the recent addition of some pretty major game modes content. Summoners are now having to prioritize their participation. This isn't a bad thing because it means that there's more to do, but it has caused discomfort for some people who feel they're not able to do everything and are missing out on rewards. It's a situation that's constant flux and is always being monitored. So it could be a case, it could be looked into. We'll have to see. To help alleviate the discomfort, the game team provides alternate ways to participate in content that don't require energy. That's why Elder Marks exist in Battlegrounds and why they distributed in regular intervals as you progress through the victory track. Furthermore, this is the biggest one. Even if summons don't like to hear it, there is an abundance of free access units in the game. They are provided to allow summoners to buy things like revives and potions and energy refills. So that is where Kabam want you to prioritize your spend of units, rather than it being like save up for things like the banquet event, save up for the Cyber Weekend, and save up for July 4th deals. They want you to save up unusual units for these things. For those that spend in the game, I don't think really get like where it is on the other side. I would recommend anybody that spends in the game, or spends an excessive amount, or even a good chunk, go non-spending for a year. It will open up your eyes as to like how you prioritize things. It definitely was an eye-opener for me, especially as now I enter into my second year. I've got 11 more months to go, 2 full years of being non-spending in Marvel Contest of Champions. But I would recommend people to do it to understand. Actually, I would recommend Kabam to do it to understand, but they won't because obviously the company needs money. I understand that many summoners, myself included, want to save units for Crystal's champ rolls, but hoarding units instead of using them for revives health potions creates a self-imposed knock-on effect of feeling like you have less energy. No. The gains you make from the banquet event, like new players make more gains from the banquet event very early on by saving up units throughout the year. The same thing with Cyber Weekend and July 4th. Prioritization, acquisition, and look at it this way. Investing your units in Cyber Weekend deals 2022 versus July 4th, 2022. You got more rank 4 materials as a Paragon player by going that way. If you had invested all of your units into getting, I don't know, Act 8.2 done, I think it was. Was it 8.2? 8.1 or 8.2 at the time. Whatever it was, right? Whatever that content was. 8.1, I think it is. If you did that, or Act 7 100%ing, if you invested in that, you would get less than you would get like in Cyber Weekend deals. Like, it's such a weird way of looking at it. Like, a lot of players that are free to play need those deals in order to kind of progress their rosters further. Maybe they'll kind of do that in the likes of Battlegrounds, but it's a bit of a because I know some people that will buy Elder Marks in Battlegrounds to propel themselves further. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know with that. I really don't know. There does seem like there's a bit of a difference in opinion on this. I've seen a lot of people like disagreeing with what I believe to be, as a non-spending player, like pretty logical takes on why we hoard the units for things like Cyber Weekend. And I mean, like, I'm about to start my saving up for July 4th deals just so that I can get myself specific champion selectors which are going to be important for my roster. The same way that trying to get stuff like rank 5 6-star materials is something that, as soon as I'm done with EOP and Act 8.2, where the rest of them coming from, like that's kind of the other kind of element of it. Like content wise, it just makes more sense to kind of spend my units to get more rank 5 materials for champion. And even like 7-star shards when they come out, like that may be like an acquisition thing, because I have to chase that meta to get better champions, to have better defense options, to be better for Alliance Wars and be better for Battlegrounds. So it's a no-brainer from my side of things looking at this. But I don't know, thoughts in the comment section about this. And the final thing we've got to give coverage to is the arena results for Baron Zemo and Silver Surfer. Now, I did say it was a selector. That's because Kabam said it was a selector, but it turns out it's not a selector, it's Silver Surfer. But we've got some amazing results. Thanks very much to everybody that got involved. Honestly, some of the best results we've had in the last few weeks. For Silver Surfer, we have got a 64 position with 32.25 mil. Then it goes down to 72 position with a 30.8 mil. This is great because it's a nice low score for Silver Surfer. I know some people are very interested in this particular result. And if you're looking to get a 5-star, 10 mil, I even think like putting even 9 mil is probably going to scoop the champion. Baron Zemo, on the other hand, 265.5 mil, got position 79. 65 mil, got position 219. If you wanted to scoop yourself a Baron Zemo, you're looking at about 50 mil. That's a 49.5 mil cutoff for position 451. My predictions for round 2 of this arena are kind of similar. I would say that maybe that Baron Zemo 250 mil might have to be upgraded to at least 260 mil just to be safe. And in a 5-star version, 50 mil. That's logical. Silver Surfer 6-star, 35 mil, 5-star, 10 mil. So yeah, like that's really it. You know, there's predictions. Those have been the results. Thank you very much to everybody that supports the channel as a YouTube member and as a patron. You're on screen right now. Also, those that support on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. Yeah, I'm going to be live streaming hopefully today and maybe a little bit more on YouTube this week, especially as I do some setup work and changes to the setup. So yeah, hopefully like a stress-free week and new information updates on Friday, of course. Oh, and make sure to check out some other content located on screen right now. I'll see you all soon. Much love and goodbye.